Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 65 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Welcome back, I'm Ben, and once again I'm joined by Blood-type Ben.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Not bad at all. What's new?
Not a lot. I was just saying when we were setting up, I was just like, it's going so fast. I feel like everything is on autopilot at the moment because I'm just like, wait, I've got recording another one already.
Yeah, I know.
It's been like 2 days.
I can't believe how quickly this one's come around. And I was really hoping that I just had a feeling we'd have like a pitch side report this week. But I wonder if G-Dub is just fully barreling towards Cursed City instead at the moment.
Maybe. Yeah, their attention seems pretty focused on that.
Which makes sense. I mean, it's a pretty chunky splash release, which actually goes on pre-order the day this podcast comes out. So let's just... Are you going to be trying to pick it up, Ben? I'm saying trying to pick it up.
I'm definitely going to try, yeah. I'm worried. I'm very worried about it.
Yeah, it's weird. The timing of it is a little bit unfortunate from Games Workshop because it's like, hey, the weekend where you can see friends again outside, fine, but actually that's not a massive issue because you are allowed to use each other's toilets and you are allowed to travel through the house to get to the garden and back again. Yeah, cool. That's a nice little loophole there. We released this sweet solo game.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the top things about it was the fact that it was solo. And I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect. This is really good. And then, we'll back out. But hey, you never know. If you're looking at Europe, who knows what's going to happen. But it looks like it'd be great fun to play with friends anyway.
It does, yeah. I'm going to try with some friends who I've got a friend who's built like an amazing, he's already done it. I built and painted a whole board for it.
Oh, really?
Like terrain and stuff. Yeah, it's crazy good.
What size squares did you use? That's the question.
I think he went for like 45 mil. I think.
Oh my god, massive.
Based on the but I think if you look at the photos, I think it was that. I haven't asked, but
it's very nice to build you a dungeon bowl board. I like that.
Yeah, definitely know how to go to. He smashed it out. And yeah, he's got this thing which kind of you can film a board and then kind of scan in cards and stuff, and then that gets broadcast out to people, and you go on like a browser and you get your card in your hand, and then you can see a live stream of the board, and then you can kind of it's all like kind of still private, so your hand is kind of, you can deal from a deck and stuff like that if that's required.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Yeah, I forgot what it's called, but there's some Kickstarter that happened ages ago.
That's cool. I wonder if it's similar to Spell Table, which is a Magic the Gathering thing, though. I think it's got like an element where you can scan some cards in and they pop up and shows you what's going on.
Yeah, it sounds similar.
Oh, dude, that's so cool. I mean, it would be great fun to play it in person, but I don't know, there's just something about, we were talking about this before the podcast, is the prospect of gaming outside with people again. It's weird. Like, for a tournaments are always like quite a big investment, I guess. They're not really a big investment, but do you know what I mean? Like, there's an element of, it's a mission. We're going to a tournament. This is an event. We're going to do a thing.
Yeah.
Like, the prospect of regular gaming now just seems so crazy to be like, oh yeah, we can meet up and set up Blackstone Fortress, and it just feels like a lot of work compared to all this stuff is virtual. Because you were saying about...
we had that with that podcast, didn't we? With the wait, we can do this remotely.
Oh yeah, that was absolute game changer. It's like, oh, this works better remotely. Like, this is good. But no, you were talking about D&D, and I was like, oh, sweet. Yeah. That's cool. What modules are you using on Roll20? And you're like, no, in person. I'm like, you can play Dungeons and Dragons in person? Like, since when?
Ridiculous.
I know.
Who'd have thought?
I think that's just because you guys need to get some LARPing on the go, and that's okay. We're not going to judge. Yeah. We're not going to judge. I think that's pretty
100%.
Fantastic. So, other than the prospect of going outside again, Ben, what are we going to be talking about on today's episode?
We're going to be having a pretty chill episode, just sort of having some chats about what we've been up to. Other than that, we'll also talk about our local league that we're running on Fumble. But also to go off of that, we're going to be discussing if Blood Bowl 16 really is dead.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We thought we'd just catch up and talk about what we're playing at the moment before the club reopens. I mean, the club's going to be a couple of months at least, I think. Probably a couple of months at least before we can start going regularly to play Blood Bowl again. But in the meantime, we filled the void with Fumble. And then we've explored the secret leagues, and it's really good fun at the moment. So we thought we'd chat about how it's going, some of the teams, and just talk about Blood Bowl, which is what we do. But also, it's like, actually, is Blood Bowl 16 dead? You know, all the content we do has been focusing really heavily on Blood Bowl 2020. But if you want to play Blood Bowl right now, you either have to play Roll20 or Tabletop Simulator. And it's I don't know, like, everything else is still old school Blood Bowl. If you want to play Secret League, it's old school Blood Bowl. If you want to play Blood Bowl online, it's BB2. And it's like, well, actually, everyone was like, boom, Blood Bowl 2020 is here, BB16 dead to me, but it's not actually dead. I think it's still quite live. And we're just going to talk about whether that's good, whether that's bad, what it's going to mean, and just to chat about the fact that you can still play a load of cool stuff. It's just the old format, which is a little bit jarring at times. But as ever, before we do anything else at all, we are going to move on to Blood Bowl news. Cool. So even though we haven't had a pitch side report, although one is due, I think we're going to have one. Well, it's going to have to be next week now. I can't imagine they're going to use the Friday release to have a pitch side report, but I don't know, never know. So there's a couple of bits of news floating around. The first of all is a Kickstarter. It is the Crazy Frogs Kickstarter, which is not as bad as that meant in the late 90s, early 2000s. I wonder. The Crazy Frogs is... Oh. I know, right? It's okay. We can all hear it in our heads. And those of you who are too young to remember Crazy Frog, I salute you. Well done. Anyway, this is a Kickstarter online by Cedric, Snow Model, and it is a Slan team. So it's on Kickstarter as Crazy Frogs, and it is way over its goal. So £2,239 at the moment of a goal of £340. And there's 11 days to go. So this is carried on until April the 13th. And I don't know, Ben, have you had a chance to have a look at this team?
Yeah, I have. I really like this, actually. This is like, it's not trying to do anything really like complex. It's just saying, like, here is a team that works amazingly for Slan. And it's just like, great, you know?
Yeah.
And that's my attitude towards it. It's fantastic.
They've done a great job. There's actually a test model you can print. They've sent us one of the blitzers, which I've printed and have a look at here. And, I mean, they're lovely miniatures. But the painted examples on the page are gorgeous as well. The frogs have done really, really well. Now, it is, I say it's primarily an STL thing, but you can get a team. So let's go with the team. So a 3D printed team with 6 line frogs, 4 catchers, 4 blitzers, 1 big guy, and all stretch goals. £47.
Brilliant.
So what's that?
That's really good.
15 dudes and a big guy. Sorry, 15 dudes including a big guy for £47. Let's say postage takes up to just over 50. And they've got a ton of stretch goals that they've already hit, I think. There's extra throwers. There's the cool doctor, which is quite cartoony. There's the coach. There's a cheerleader. There's some fans for the stands. More cheerleader tokens. Different head for the big guy. They've got a lot of stuff here, and it's really, really good. Now, the style is very, very frog-like. It's a Slan team. Yeah. You know, you kind of expect that. Where's the team picture again? There's the team picture here. So, I know a lot of people don't like the way Slan fits in the lore, and anthropomorphic frog people are always going to be potentially a divisive topic. But I like him. I was really intrigued when I saw this, and spoke to Cedric, and obviously we got a chance to have a look at the STLs. Now, one thing to be aware of is when you print the stuff out, when you get the miniatures, the frogs are much smaller than the positionals. They're almost stunty in size. So I need to do a video for this. I haven't had a chance the last week. But the frogs themselves are actually quite small. But the good thing about 3D printing is that you can just size stuff up. which is pretty cool. Now, they come pre-supported, so sizing up is going to be interesting, I think. I know that because I've had to do it for the Punga stuff recently, and we'll come to that in hobby, because I've got multiple different sizes of dwarf on my bench right here. Anyway, this Kickstarter, you got the standard linemen who are all different frog players. They've got the gloves, they've got a ball here and there. Then there's the positionals. You've got the catchers, which are kind of medium sized, and you've got the blitzers, which are chunky boys. And you've got a really cool big frog Croxagore. And
it looks fantastic.
Yeah, the painting's lovely. They've done a great job getting example miniatures. But if you've got a 3D printer, then how much is it? £18 for the basic team, or £22 for the fan team, which includes the stretch goals and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben, we're seeing loads of STL stuff now. £20 for an STL Blood Bowl team that's pre-supported.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah, because you know you can print that to your liking, and £30 for print, all in. You know, with the STLs and the print, that's a bargain. And I don't know, your friends are gonna love you, because there's always some spare miniatures when you're printing stuff. I'm a big fan of this. I've backed it. I will be scaling up the frogs to work, and yeah, really like it. If you're in the market for a Slan team, and you should be, because Slan are a unique Blood Bowl team that we're very lucky to have them sticking around, even if I had a horrible time for half the last league with my Slan team. I went 4-0, drew against Richard Price, and then tanked the rest of the way. My Croxagore died, everybody died, it was horrible. It was very Blood Bowl league, and I swear Fumble is bloodthirsty.
It is. I can attest to that later.
I just, honestly, Fumble is an angry bear right now. And I swear it's just like, oh, that guy fell over. He exploded and his whole family died. It's like just...
What's the sound effects that accompany it as well?
Yeah, I love Fumble.
The splat.
It's really funny. Tiff can always hear in the next room if I'm playing Fumble. She'll just send me a little message, be like, how's your Fumble game going? I'm like, oh, hey, how'd you know? And she was like, because I heard you throw a teammate. And I was like, hey, you know what that sounds like? Wow. Love it. Honestly, it's probably the best reason to play Fumble. Anyway, Crazy Frogs Kickstarter. If you're in the market for a cool Slan team, get it done. And the other bit of news, let me just pop this on the screen here and press play. I think we talked about it last time. Vortice Miniatures were saying, hey, there's a thing coming. And they've released more information about the thing, and we thought it might have been an undead team or something cool. It is, in fact, a stadium. Have you had a chance to look at this? Now, we don't know if it's an STL, if they're selling it, what the crack is just yet, but it's pretty cool.
It's insane. I don't know. I would imagine this is a printable thing. I would imagine.
Now, Vortice
based on their previous,
haven't done that before, have they?
Yeah, I'm just going like based on the images. It's all very like modular in fixed sizes, which are convenient for a printer bed. That's kind of just like it adds up to what I've seen from other things like this.
Yeah, what was it? Kraken Studios. Were they the guys who did that before? They had the stat. I need to get some of that stuff actually because I might as well. Add to that.
This stuff is kind of different. Like Kraken was focused on mainly on the pitch. They had some surrounding stuff as well, and fantastic surrounding stuff with lots of fans and stuff. But this is like you're printing like a cathedral.
Yeah, exactly. This looks like Bewley Abbey. This is a ruined big thing. It's really cool. It is a big castle stadium. There's ruined turrets on it. There's massive Gothic architecture. You can take one half of this and use it as city terrain in 40k. And it's awesome. There's cool gargoyles and things like that. Like it looks amazing. And I'm a Blood Bowl nut. I don't think I will probably ever have a stadium.
They look amazing, but it's the practicality of playing it in it. I think if you had a place where you played all the time and you could dedicate it to kind of staying there, I think these are awesome. And it will be such a good like top table thing in a tournament.
in Toyment have a stadium, don't they?
Yeah, they do, don't they?
And I think you're right, Ben. I think when it comes to that, that's actually a really useful and really cool way to do it. Now, I'd love if we can have a permanent studio for filming, and we could just have I think the mini wargaming guys do have that, and it's just awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like stadiums take up a ton of space, and I think I'd rather have more teams. Although I don't need another dwarf team because I've got like 6 now, or whatever it is, and I don't even play dwarves. So having a stadium's pretty grandiose, but it's pretty cool. I mean, it's very, very cool. It is completely unnecessary and over the top bling.
Yeah,
but
I love that.
Yeah, exactly. So if it lands as an STL, it'll be sweet. I'll back it and never print it. You might print it if it works for the plastic.
And that with all the other terrain things.
Yeah. Did you back that 40k one in the end?
Yeah, I did. I printed off like 2 buildings.
The vase terrain.
Yeah. I actually backed one of those today because he's doing floors now.
Oh wow!
I backed that even though I haven't printed off the buildings yet. Yeah,
interesting. It's weird. Kickstarters have changed these days. If you can back an STL Kickstarter, and you'll get the files real quick, and then it doesn't matter because you'll not print them. And this is something I'm just absolutely finding at the moment. Is like I'm slowing down on buying things I don't need. Although I did mess up, and we'll talk about that in hobby. But like, I printed off a bunch of Battlefleet Gothic recently. I printed off Craig's Fleet. I've printed off some of the new Orcs that I need to hook you up with the STLs for, Ben, because oh my god, these Orc boats, star boats, are just amazing. And they're pre-supported, which is just incredibly good.
Amazing.
But like, you just end up with a ton of STLs, and there's that weird like FOMO. It's like, the Patreon, it's come out. Yeah. I need to save the files. I need to save them. I will never use them. I will never be able to find them in my download folder, because I've had that time where I'm like, actually, I've got a spare 2 square inches on the plate. I could print one of those things that I paid £27 for, and I probably never will. But that's fine. Sometimes it's worth just backing something to help create it, and that is the whole point of Kickstarter and the whole point of Patreon. Is you incentivize people being creative, and even if you don't end up having a copy of it or using a copy of it, I mean, we've all backed a board game on a Kickstarter that either on the low end at like £30 or on the big end at £120, and I guarantee you we've never played it. I backed Tiny Epic Mechs, and I've got no idea if it even ever turned up. But man, I was excited to back it on Kickstarter. I was like, I'm gonna back that, gonna get all the stuff. When's it arriving? 2027. Fantastic. I've got no idea. I've moved house twice. Someone somewhere has got my copy of a board game, and I really hope they're enjoying it. I don't know. It's going to be a bit of a rambly episode, guys. I've spoken to Ben for ages. Anyway, Blood Bowl news, that is everything that I've seen going on. Anything else kicking around, Ben, at the moment?
Not a huge amount,
It kind of goes through peaks and troughs. I mean, we've just had a beast of a Kickstarter sesh with the Grebo stuff. I mean, that Grebo gear landed really well and absolutely smashed all targets known to man, which was pretty cool. Fantasy football, let's try.
I'm looking forward to that.
Man, definitely. It's so good. It's so good. But to be fair, the Punga stuff is really cool. Actually, should we talk about the Punga team release for today? Did you see this?
I did, yes. I skipped a beat for a minute and I was like, oh no, it's okay.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. How do we do this? Where do we go? Let's go there. There we go. Oh no, that's what we want to do. Let's go to the Twitters and check it out on there. I thought this was awesome. So we're expecting the second half of the Stern Boys, the incredibly undersized dwarf team, and it's April Fool's Day. So one of the best April Fools is they've said the second part of the Stern Boys is on Patreon, and they're goblins. They, instead of releasing, well, okay, that's not entirely fair. They've put a splash image and they've put dwarf bits on their underworld goblins, and they look awesome. But some of the comments actually on the Patreon are so good. Like, someone was like, I backed the Patreon just to get these goblins, and I've downloaded to find that it's actually dwarves.
Really?
Yeah, I felt really bad for that person. I was like, oh dude, he's like, I wanted these goblins for my Chaos Dwarf team, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, that is exactly right.
Pretty good.
That is exactly right. Like, yeah, we need these guys. So now everyone's spamming them saying you need to release these miniatures. But that's...
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Well, they've sculpted them, clearly.
Exactly, they exist.
They've sculpted that as an April Fool's joke. This must have taken a significant amount of time.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, they probably got... Because, I mean... They probably got the beard part of the sculpt and then just stuck it on Goblin, but
they still look finished.
Seamless.
They look finished. Like, they've done a great job. These sculpts that they've done for April Fools are better than a lot of other company stuff. Like, almost all of the company stuff. Like, if this was released by any new third party, we'd be mega jazzed up for it. We'd be like, wow, that's really unique. Like, that's cool. I don't know why they've got beards, but actually they look hobgoblin-y. It's just so good. But yeah, they haven't released those. They've just released more dwarves, which is still fine because their dwarves are really good. But I did think that was brilliant. Any other good April Fools today?
There was one I saw. I think it was a 40k channel, and he was talking about how to like make money quick in the hobby, and it was basically just describing Games Workshop sales tactics, which I just sort of gave me a chuckle because it was,
on the nose.
All specs tactics was that one made me laugh. That's not. They had the Games Workshop at their Primaris Lieutenant movie. That was good.
Yeah, I did love that. I love they go through the whole prospect of like these people like, who save millions of lives, billions of worlds, and this guy stands next to them. And it's the Primaris Lieutenant. Yeah, but it's still better than most films, I think. Although today is the 1st of April, therefore Godzilla vs. King Kong comes out today in your home.
Is that today?
Yeah, you stream at home. So Tiff and I have got movie night on Sunday, and we are watching King Kong versus Godzilla, and I imagine it's going to be awful and she may fall asleep, but it'll be fun.
That's what you want. It's Godzilla versus Kong. Of course it's going to be awful, but that's why you watch it.
Yeah,
because it knows it's awful. It's a lizard fighting a gorilla.
I'm genuinely worried I'm going to watch it and I'm going to end up buying into Monster Apocalypse while I'm watching it, because I've always been this close to buying into Monpoc because I love the mechanics. Like, the game is so clever, but it was wrecked because the first edition was all pre-paints, and also there's just too many games out there, and
there are too many games.
It's expensive and there's no customization, and it's a shame. So I don't think it will land well. And that's the great thing about all the Games Workshop stuff, especially Blood Bowl, is every blooming thing is customizable. And you know, you've got Kickstarter after Kickstarter and Patreon, and you've got, honestly, you could spend your life on at my mini factory and build team after team of Blood Bowl, which I do now. Which I had to order more resin. Good job. I'm gonna blame Craig's Battlefleet Gothic ships for that, but it really is just me printing out Blood Bowl players that I don't need. Mostly the same bloomin' Punga dwarf thrower. And three different
Should we talk about hobby? This is a good story.
Right, two things left to mention. Just want to say thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon. That means we can put extra resources into competitions and making extra content, which is awesome. You get early access to content. We have monthly competitions on there as well, which is pretty sweet. And we have got, first of all, thank you to our new patrons. Nice to see you. Chris Stevenson, The Sir Spence, Keith Douglas, Mark Nichols, Jim Folks, and David Brennan. Thank you for joining us this month, or this week. And we've got a competition on that is available to everybody at the moment, which is an adjusted roster design competition, and we're seeing some great stuff come through at the moment. As a Skaven coach, I'm loving all of your work. It's really cool. We've got a competition, and basically, which makes sense because we've got the Punga stuff here, we are going to be giving away a printed team of the Punga Stern Boys, minus the massive boat, because I don't understand why the boat is in there. But you will get a death roller, one of these massive death rollers, and it will be printed at the appropriate scale, which I will talk about in a minute. So yeah, what we're looking at is for you to put together one of the rosters that are in Blood Bowl now, or create a new one if you want, but ideally we're looking for, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we took the X team and we took away this position, or maybe replaced it with this one, or boosted up the number of other positions? Like, hey, how cool would an Amazon team be, but you got rid of 2 blitzers and added fun in the version of a Croxagore, like, and you made the catchers human catchers, and you made the team a team instead of just dodge, and stuff like that. We're looking to see what you can do. in the kind of framework. There's a video on our YouTube, and I think I put it on the pod feed as well. So if you want to know the specifics of that, please get involved. And we've got an entry date of the 10th of April. That gives Ben and I a week to go through all of the entries and pick our top ones. And one Patreon entry and one non-Patreon entry will win a team from Punga that we will print of the Stern Boys. And as gnarly as the sizing is, they are awesome sculpts. They just need to be made a little bit bigger, which I have done, and I actually love these. So I've got on my desk like a whole bunch of different dwarves. I've got the Fanath dwarf, I've got a Grebo dwarf, I've got a Punga dwarf. I need to finish off doing a size comparison video, basically, based on the dwarf teams that are out, because it's really different. And that's the other thing.
So many good options.
It's just so good. So yeah, adjusted design competition, please get your entries in, because it's just awesome. And then next podcast, I imagine, actually, you know exactly what's going to happen, don't you, Ben? Death Zone's going to land next weekend with more info, and that's going to be a bumper episode. But you know what? I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, drop
be nice.
Drop your entries to us if you can at our email, theboneheadpodcast@gmail.com. Makes it easier for me to compile them and share them and everything. But otherwise, just get in contact with us. All right, Punga printing hobby time. And we're back, and it's hobby time, and so the Punga stuff is amazing. It's pre-supported, and the pirates were phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. They came in multiple pieces. The Patreon's like, what is it, £10 a month, then?
Yeah.
And you get, at the moment, half of a Blood Bowl team a month, which is fine, because actually, I think for most casual printers, actually, that's probably a topic we should talk about, Ben. Like, you know, you've got a month to print out one of each model. That should be fine. I feel like, and Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, but people with printers spend 3/4 of the month not wanting to clean up a failed print, and then a solid week printing like a demigod. Is that
until it breaks again?
Until it breaks again. Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, the cycle continues. That's been my experience, at least. There are some who go out there and they'll post on social media just like printing like a machine, or they'll do like a cute, nice, lovely, well-edited video of them having a good time with their printer. They're liars. Every single one of them. These things are fantastic, but they're a fantastic nightmare. And yeah, maybe we're just doing it wrong. I don't know. But resin printing is gloriously awful.
I am willing to say that I am cowboying it and have cowboyed it the entire time. So a lot of these mistakes are because I just... you guys have seen me play many, many Blood Bowl games. You know I'm willing to be like, yeah, all right, let's do this. Yeah, 3+, 3+, 3+, 3+, it'll be fine. Hey, sometimes you are a glorious touchdown machine. Sometimes you just have resin everywhere and it's bad. And... actually,
every print comes out when you've got like half a dude just like you've just like severed.
I don't understand. Like, I printed this frog dude and there was just bits missing inside it. Like, I've shown you a couple of my failed prints where it looks like someone got halfway through a Stargate and switched it off. That's kind of like to be expected. Literally just looks like, oh, that half of that's gone. But like, and I don't mind that because I'm like, right, it's misleveled. I've done something wrong. That's fine. Like, the entire print was fine. It's just like someone chucked it into Photoshop, randomly selected a square and deleted it. It's just like, like someone had portal gunned the middle of this miniature. However, Ian Triplo did come up with potentially the winning thing of saying, actually, exposure time, which I'm not convinced now. I boosted it up from 7.5 seconds per layer to 8 seconds per layer, and it printed out just fine. I think it's because I cleaned it, re-leveled it, and did all that. But I don't know. It worked, and...
It does help. You lose a bit of detail, but it helps.
You lose a bit of detail, do you?
Yeah, if you increase the exposure, it patterns it out. Like, the lower the exposure, the cleaner the print. But the more prone to error it is, the higher the exposure. Reduces a lot of the error, but it can soften the print.
Oh well,
as in like it suffers the detail.
I've got to
So
say,
it's not that much of a difference.
the frog team, frog dudes, then are very detailed. But no, the thing is, Ben, you gave me these settings for the printer at 7.5, and it's been brilliant, dude, for like 5 months. And then just this last month, it's been tricky. I don't know whether it's the temperature, although it's been much
Did you
colder.
change the resin?
Yeah. No, I was going to, but I keep panicking, and I'm like, oh no, I haven't got resin, and just buy again from Amazon. I keep meaning to buy the water soluble stuff because apparently it's better for 6mm stuff. And you know me, I like crazy 6mm.
I've heard rough things about it.
Oh really?
It's something for everyone.
Yeah. Again,
better for the environment.
I've seen a video of someone having a great time with it, and I was like, wow, this must be the chosen way. This is the one, but maybe it's not. Anyway, Punga Miniatures. They released the dwarf team, and they're mildly over-supported, I'd say, but they are not the... they're not the... Oh, dude, what were the orcs that was a Kickstarter?
Oh, yeah, the Pirates of the Orc Bay. Yeah, great team, awesome team, but those supports were... Oh,
that was one of the first miniatures I printed off, and it was just It was just like this block of supports. Like, yeah,
there's more resin in the supports than the miniature.
Yeah, no, never a failed print though, which is hilarious.
You're printing a pillar.
Yeah, it's just solid. So I printed out I got really excited when the Stern Boys landed. I printed out a whole bunch of them, and I put them down, and I was like, they are small, like 20mm scale. I was like, no worries, I'll print it 110%. That came out, and I was like, yeah, it looks better, but that is still slight. 120% though, that is the winner. That is the winner there. You've got to be careful of the supports, but this guy and the other guys come out brilliantly. And like, I don't know, I can't probably get that onto the camera. I've got the dwarf thrower here at 120%, and it is awesome. And he sizes up beautifully to the Grebo ones, beautifully to the Games Workshop ones. So yeah, if you've got the Punga and you haven't started printing it yet, be aware. Those dwarves need a bit of a size boost, and I know that people told them, so I'm wondering if this version 2 stuff is going to be a different size. But because stuff comes supported, you don't have any idea of how big the model is, do you?
No, it's difficult to gauge. I have a the way I do it for most things, I've got like a test model which I kind of know like what the size is. It's just like a standard wizard, and like he's like basically hero height for most 32mm, like a normal lineman, and I will align him with whatever angle they are in their support mode and just try and scale it to him.
That's genius.
Or like rotate him. Yeah, so I kind of align everything to my wizard, and trust in the wizard.
Yeah, that's genius. Yes. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, I printed some of these guys. I love it. Now I've hit the 120%. I kind of ran out of resin, so because I've been printing a Battlefleet Gothic fleet for Craig and sneaking in cool orc ships that I will never use, I imagine. And so I've been having fun doing that. Printed the frog guys. They're pretty sweet as well. What about you, man? Hobby wise?
I think I spent pretty much the entire time painting a Nurgle lineman,
which looks awesome, by the way.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy with it. That's probably as far as it goes in my Nurgle experience, my Nurgle team building, because I'm bored now. But
oh no, you did the new challenge thing. Like,
have to, Ben. Everything I do has to be some new project where I try something new.
Yeah,
but give up on it.
But if you solve the puzzle, it's on to the next thing.
Yeah, I will carry it on. I've got the next one primed. Yeah, it's the Grebo Nurgle team. I got this a couple of years ago. They had a New Year sale without half price. So I picked up this with my Khorne team. And yeah, I'm finally getting around to it. I did realise though I am missing one of the warriors, which is a bit annoying. But that's probably me that I've put somewhere. If I'm honest. I can't remember. But yeah, no, it's been really fun painting this. I've enjoyed painting this more than most mail I've ever painted, really. Maybe it's because I was taking more time over it. But I tried non-metallic metal, which is kind of ironic to paint on a metal model. And yeah, it came out pretty well. I was pretty happy with it.
It looks brilliant, man. And this is it. This is the funny thing, is that it's metal team, and Ben hates metal.
I do.
Actually, absolutely hates metal. I'm a huge fan of metal stuff, and regret accidentally ordering the resin Fanath team instead of metal.
No, not in a second.
However, I think it is probably for the better.
The one thing that metal does better than any other material is make you feel like you've got a luxury product. I think the weight of it is really nice when you're like painting it and playing with it. Well, no, not when playing with it. When you're like picking up a model to look at,
when you're adding it to the pile, it feels better if it's metal.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they feel more luxury.
Base weights. There you go. Job done.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, pennies and stuff.
I had to do this with a bunch of my Flames of War and Team Yankee stuff, because the plastic tanks, they're just so light. It's just so unsatisfying.
It feels cheap.
It does. It's just really like, it's not okay. So I ended up gluing bolts and stuff on the inside of them, just to add weight. And it's just much more satisfying. It messes with the hole, and also really useful for magnetizing. So I had like a whole bunch of Shermans, and I glued nuts inside the hull, and then lined up a couple of battens in a tray with magnets on, so it just basically clips on to this like train track underneath the tank. So all of my tanks are just lined up on these two battens with magnets everywhere, because they're full of random scrap metal. That just works brilliantly. But yeah, there is something about that extra chunky weight. Are you printing at the moment, Ben?
Yeah, I've printed some stuff for friends. I've got a couple of friends doing. I'm sort of teaching them D&D virtually. So I'm kind of running a campaign with that, and they got their characters. So they all made them on Hero Forge, and I was just like, yeah, I'll print those for you.
That's
printed off them.
I love Hero Forge.
It's really good. It's quite expensive, but considering you can get exactly kind of the character you imagined in your head, that's pretty good. It's like $8 for an STL.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it that expensive? Like,
no, it's not that expensive.
Like I don't know. Like, I think €10 for a decent. But then again, that would $10 on like minute. But those are normally pre-supported. I take it the Hero Forge stuff isn't.
No.
Yeah, and
but auto supports have come a long way. All of this I've been auto supporting just on G2 Box. Just click a button, and they've come out all fine. So
I've been impressed. I've been impressed with the auto support stuff. It's been mostly
it's changing my mind on it. I used to be really against it. I used to be like, no, you've got to do it manually. It doesn't do it properly. But that's just the early edition I was using. It was rubbish.
With the exception of the cleanup, a lot of printing is just genuinely click and print now. It's really cool.
A lot of it is, yeah.
It's really getting there.
Yeah, it's great when it is. It's great when it actually is.
Oh yeah, you end up with a ton of stuff all over the place. Anyway, that's good.
Yes.
Blood Bowl wise, I'm still painting my Blood Bowl teams. I think I made a mistake in painting so many at once. I am getting there with my Black Orcs. What did we do? I sat down with Tiff last week. What did she watch? Mean Girls. That was it. And I chilled out and painted it. It's so classic. It's so classic and horrifically old now. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, she watched Mean Girls. I painted some more of my Black Orcs, but games wise, I've been so inspired to paint my nobility because, and we'll kind of chat about this more, I guess, in the next segment. But like, I've been playing nobility on Fumble. And that got me really excited. All right, I only played one game on Fumble with them, but I don't know. They are fun. They are underdogs, but they are fun, and that got me seriously jazzed up to paint the nobility because I don't know. Black Orcs are sweet. They are really sweet, and when you think about the ability to deploy 7 strength 4 or 5 players on a line and back them up with potentially some of the better goblins out there, the better stunty players. The team just is awesome. But there is something about this gaggle of average people with slightly tier 1.5 skills that is just awesome. And yeah, been really inspired to paint them. And obviously I've got dwarves and slan coming out of every pocket in the office.
Yeah.
Oh, Oh, I do have a confession, actually. So I picked up an Armada ship because I felt rubbish, and I was like, I just want a treat. I need some paints from Entoyment. £13 for a resin boat is pocket money price. It's dangerous. It's that. There's no Blood Bowl for ages. £13 to get a cool model to paint. That's worthwhile. I'd probably spend that on a couple of STLs that I would never print anyway. I picked up a boat, and then last week, so this is for Mantic Armada, last week, randomly, Warlord Games had a half-price sale on the starter set. So I picked up the starter set. It arrived today. £37, man. £37.
That is good.
Rulebook.
It's so good.
All the templates and 8 ships. And they're big. Wow. They're big ships as well. Like they're easy twice the size of Man of War stuff. These ships are like 4-5 inches. They're chunky. They're big. Actually.
Oh, like Games Workshop vehicles, like Rhino sort of size.
The resin is dodgy. Like it's a bit of a shame. The Orc boat I've built was just ugh. I was like, this will be cool. I'll grab it. I'll spray it brown. Do some dry brushing. Kill it with Agrax, and I'll have a boat, and that'll be great fun. And then I pulled it out, and it looked like someone had gone to Greg's, ordered a sausage roll made of resin, and then chucked it in the box, right?
Or greasy.
Yes, greasy Alpha Foxtrot, but also flaky. There's just so much resin flake. I was like, what is this? What is this? So it really put me off, and then I bought another one, and then I bought the starter set, so it didn't put me off that much.
Must be good.
I got the human boat because I was like, you know what? I've got the Drowned and the Damned Kickstarter because I backed that. I've got those STLs. I've got some boats. I'll print some of those off. I'll print some Man of War stuff off. I'll compare it to the Armada stuff just for those boat heads out there because I'm like, this is cool. This is something fun. Well, I need another boat then to compare the size. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then I was like, half price. Oh my goodness, I need to buy it now. I didn't need to buy it now, and I guarantee you, I will never play the game. But I did get it, so I win at capitalism. That's how capitalism works, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I bought something at a good value that I didn't need. I win. Yeah, oops. I've done really well this year. I haven't bought really anything other than Blood Bowl stuff. So half price. I made money on this. That's how I'm viewing it.
That'll be good. And that's the thing with hobby things. Usually you can sell them on for the value that you got them for. That's my justification for spending a ludicrous amount on everything I don't need. Yeah. You've got Diachasm off of a.
I know. I saw you kind of beat me to the punch on that. I like it. That's good. But the thing is that's a pick up and play game. I can see our local club going into Underworlds at some point.
Probably, yeah.
But
it's a good game.
Yeah, I really sold on it. Really like it. Really like the team buy-ins and everything. I've got Night Vault to play. I never bought Beastgrave because I didn't like the weird goat people. Sorry, guys.
The Wood Elves.
Ugh, the worst than Wood Elves. At least Wood Elves are kind of like, yeah, all right, I get it. They're flashy. These guys are weird little, like, just disappointing centaurs. And I don't like
basically Beastmen, even though they hate Beastmen.
They're just, I'm not impressed with those guys. But the new stuff's really cool, and except for the kangaroo people, and the kangaroo people are not in Diachasm, so that's fine. But those kangaroos, not so good, in my mind. So
I don't know, I quite like them.
No, I'm just, what are they doing? And their new kangaroo hero as well, who looks like something from an anime. Just
the whole army is like, forgive me, master, I must go all out this once.
The whole army
with my blade
looks like it should have appeared in Princess Mononoke, which sounds like more of a compliment. It's got that kind of Asian influence on the forces. They've got these weird animals that just look like weird animals, and then so very quick AOS talk. They've released this weird fox archer flying dragon hidden furry model, and the rules have just sent everyone into a spiral because it literally says on a 2+, your opponent doesn't get to do the thing that they came here to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just the worst. It's just the worst thing. So, like, in AOS, a lot of factions have what they call faction terrain, which is a complete thing, which like it's just robbery, basically. You can buy a £30 to £40 plastic terrain kit that gives your army special rules. You don't have to pay points for it, which means, therefore, if you want to play this army, you have to take it because it is free for your army. Imagine this in Blood Bowl. Imagine if you were like, hey, you're playing Black Orcs, don't forget to take Varag for 0 gold.
But you need to buy Varag sold separately, £30.
At which point, everybody, all they need to do is say, hey guys, everybody can take a troll for free. And you know what? Everybody's going to buy a troll. But this new model turns up and it's like, you can roll a dice, and on a 2+, that troll does nothing for the rest of the game. It's not just like, oh, can't use it this turn. It's like literally, hey, here's a fox, and that massive piece of terrain you built, like that loon shrine, that beast dude that respawns your army and makes your army do this special thing that it doesn't do it anymore, and it's it's just caused absolute carnage. And I don't know, makes me feel really good about not wanting to play OS because of this whole cycle, but there is something about it that is just alluring.
It's bizarre. It's like we always criticize this stuff, but it's because we love it that we criticize it.
Yeah, we love having a meta to read about. I love their articles about the meta, but that kind of fits into my tournament. I love competitive stuff. Apparently, even though I'm a massive hobby fiend and I love nothing more than brewing up rules that are completely unbalanced, I do really like having a competitive meta.
It's satisfying. Yeah. It's satisfying to like see statistics in action and things like that. I think that's what's really interesting.
So where I've been ill the last couple of weeks, and I'm on the up. Fantastic. I had to do a COVID test and everything. It was really good fun. And I spent a couple of days watching more coverage of Magic. They had a tournament, and it was just so good. Like, to watch this and see this deck compare against this. They had meta breakdowns, and I'm like, I want to do this for Blood Bowl. Whether it be good or not, I don't know, but we will do it. This is the plan. This is the way. Anyway, Ben, is there anything else hobby-wise or game-wise you want to talk about?
I think that's it. We're going to chat about games in just a second. We're in one of the topics. Yeah, I think that's it for hobby. I haven't done a huge deal.
It feels like it's been a really quick couple of weeks. I wonder if that's got something to do with the recording schedule, but I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Let's blame it on the recording schedule. And we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with topic number 1, please. So the world is slowly reopening, which is absolutely fantastic news. However, it was not doing so at a pace quick enough for our gaming group. So they moved to Fumble. Beginning of the year, we had a little mini Fumble league on Fumble. And it was regular teams. It was really good fun. I ran Slan. Ben, you were too busy to attend because of your new job, I think was kind of what was going on.
I think that was the excuse I used at the time, yeah.
And it was just actually that some of the WOBBL crew, we had a game night every Tuesday night. We'd log on to Fumble, and it was really cool. We had Discord chat and did all that. We just wanted to talk about actually what we're doing now and why, because it just seems like something cool to share. So we had a regular league, and we had normal teams, and it was really good for the first point. I went 4-0, then got murdered in a draw against humans, and then just failed my way out with Slan because it was just awful. I got the full experience. It was really interesting. It was like Fumble is bloodthirsty. Honestly, like you see people raging against RNG, and I do not mind. Like some games, you just have 4 turns where the very first thing you do is a skull or a 1 into a 1 or 2 skulls. It's just brutal. That happens. Like that's fine. You have to play knowing that is going to happen. Like 2 to 3 turns of the game, you are going to fail out. Sometimes, but sometimes they are all in one big batch and you don't get to play for half a half, and that's you've got to play with that. That's fine. These things happen. But the crew wanted to do something different into Fumble too. So this is massively going to form part of our second topic, which is around Blood Bowl 16. Is it dead? Is it not dead? Is it alive? Is it going to stay alive? But Fumble is the old rules. There is no Blood Bowl 2020 change to Fumble right now. It's going to take ages because it's a huge task, and Fumble is basically a donation based side project for a team of people, which is amazing, and it's an incredible resource. Sure, it looks retro as you like. I love it, and it's got cracking sound effects. We've done a bunch of stuff on Fumble, but what we did was we opened up the secret leagues, and then we added Imperial Nobility and Black Orcs, but we retrofit them to Blood Bowl 2016 rules. So when it comes to the nobility, the only change is, all right, passing, but passing's changed for everybody. But the only change there is that running pass doesn't exist. The bodyguards have stand firm and wrestle, no problem at all. The blitzers have catch and block, no problem at all. And the throwers are edge 3 and have pass. Like, it all works out. The fend works the same. The team is the same. So we programmed it in with the prices so that we could start farming some extra games to get a feel of the team without running pass, which I don't know if it's going to form that massive a part of the strategy. I feel like, running nobility as it is, as it could have been, would have been fine. Now, Black Orcs are a little more difficult because you miss out on Brawler, and Brawler is one of the most important parts of the Black Orc team. But a team with 6 strength 4 grab pieces is still going to do a ton of stuff. Like, that's fine. All right, the troll doesn't have projectile vomit. That's okay. So we chucked him in there to see if people wanted to do it. Nobody did. Everyone went for crazy secret team stuff, which is absolutely fine. So, Ben, you are actually playing in this one. What team did you go for, and why?
I went Were team, which I've spoken about a few times on the podcast. It was the secret team I ran on our tournament, our Tombstone tournament, the original one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've played them a couple of times, and I've only played them in a tournament setting or in Secret Sevens.
Yeah.
And basically what I wanted to go for was to see what they're like in League, to really get, 1, used to the team, and 2, understand them a bit more in this setting, because my experience with Were is you can score really damn effectively, but you have nothing left at the end of it. Like, your team just all dies. But in a tournament, that's great, because you just throw them they're just your resources. You throw at your enemy, you just do what you can to score as much as you possibly can and be a nuisance, and then they will come back. In a League, you have to be a little bit more careful with them. Yeah, I just think this team is so much fun, and to me it feels like a niche that is missing in Blood Bowl, which is the very, very like offensive, but in terms of more like agile.
Yeah.
But with no skills to back them up. They've just basically put all their eggs into good stats.
They're very fragile and very agile. Like,
yes, exactly.
They are wispy. It's a really cool team. Like, on paper they sound horrible, but because they are so very melty, it's not that bad. So they got werebears, or 1 werebear, which is a strength 5 movement 4 piece with grab, mighty blow.
You get 2.
You can get 2. I did wonder.
Yeah.
You can have up to 4 werewolves, which are just werewolves. So 8-3-3-8, claw, frenzy, regen, and then you've got the werecats, which are the line people. Movement 7, strength 2, edge 4, armor 7, and jump up. So they are
so unique.
Like a whole team of linemen would be absolutely great. Movement 7, edge 4 is amazing, but if you catch them, they die, because it's 2 die blocks against them all day long, and
no dodge to help you out.
No, do they get dodge on regular, or is it they're double?
I do think they are agility on regular. Yeah.
That would kind of make sense, I guess. But yeah, so we've got the Were team, and it's just cool. And you're right, this gives us the opportunity to grind it out in a League environment. Now, I got to see this in Lockdown Bowl, beginning of last year, run by friend of the podcast, Rob. It was a 4-round tournament, but it wasn't Resurrection, I think, because we didn't know how to set up a Resurrection format. It was just a 4-round league using secret and stunty teams. And it was really cool to see the teams develop, and this person got this, and this one's out for the game, and that's massive, because we did a bunch of coverage for it. It was absolutely awesome. I loved it. So we've got the Were team. Dwarf Lord James has gone with the Dwarf Ironbreaker team, which is a really weird team. So their linemen are movement 3, armor 10, block, thick skull. So no tackle. They've got a couple of blockers. You've got block, tackle, thick skull. They've got 4 blitzers, which are movement 5, block, thick skull, armor 10. So the whole team is armor 10. and really slow. Like the linemen are move 3, the blockers are movement 4, and the blitzers are the fastest player on the team at movement 5. So that's a really interesting twist on the dwarf team. Now, we've got one normal team, which is the Nurgle team, which has been run by Simon, who won our last league with Chaos Dwarf. And Ben, I think you played against the Blight Town Bilebringers, didn't you?
I did, yes.
How did it go? How did it go?
I'll start. I lost 1-0, which I probably wasn't expecting. I was expecting to lose, but I don't think 1-0. Then I remember Nurgle struggled to get more than one touchdown anyway. There's a couple of reasons I was expecting to lose, to be fair. It was haven't played in a long time, and Simon is an extremely good coach.
Simon is a very good coach. Now, that said, you failed 8 dodges, but I've seen you.
Yes.
I've seen 4 2+ dodges, 2 3+ dodges, and 2 4+ dodges. I feel like you dodge perhaps a little bit too much. I've seen you play with the Skaven team, and that stresses me out. But you shouldn't have failed all of those dodges. Like, my God, man. You made 19 2+ dodges.
There's not that much you can do.
And you... Oh, no, you passed every one of your go-for-its. Okay, that's cool. I love that you can see the stats here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's an interesting matchup, this one. You know, you got high edge, high mobility on the Were team with some claw, and then you've got low edge, high strength on the Nurgle team. Now, no one's got combat skills in this matchup, so none at all. But what was the... Oh, wow, you killed a dude, Ben.
I got 4 casualties. I'm leading the league in casualties in the moment.
Is that down to claw?
That is... no, I think it was actually... one of them was claw. 2 of them were on the bear. The bear's up to 4 SPP already.
Mighty Blow winning.
Yeah, he was fantastic. The bear was so good. I actually forgot he had really stupid, because he kept doing stuff. He was so reliable. He was just standing in the middle, like beating up like rotters that went over to him, and farming SVP. And then one time I just went to activate and think it was just a regular big guy with Bonehead, and it was like, oh, that's a 4+. Whoops. But he did a lot of work. One of them was on the Werewolf, which is good, because that helps get him a little bit more leveled up. But yeah, no, it was actually quite a bloody game.
Yeah, that's a ton of stuff.
2 players died, 1 on each team. 2 were both missing next game, 1 on each team. Which is...
Looks like you lost a line cat, is that right?
I did, yeah. A line cat died.
And missed next game is a line person as well. But you managed to kill a bloater from the looks of it.
I did, yes. I killed one of his bloaters quite early on. Well, I think that was the werewolf, actually, because that was Claw.
I'm playing him next, so thank you for that.
That's all right, you're welcome.
And a rotter, looks like a rotter's out. So his team now, he's got 9 players, 1 missing next game. So bloater, he's got 50k. So bloater, Pestigore, Rotspawn, and then a bunch of rotters and a couple of journeyman rotters. So actually, that's a bit of a nerfed Nurgle team now. Your team... no level ups.
Nah, sadly not. And I'm player down and player short because I'm missing next game.
Yeah, of course.
1 dead, 1 M&G. So yeah.
So when Ian set up this league, he set it up to have automated rounds. It was not me. He blamed me, but I did not do that. That was him. And you've got... Oh gosh, you've got James. Oh, you've got James next. That claw's going to be interesting. Yeah,
that's why I thought you mentioned it, because I'm up against him next week with all that block. It's gonna, but like they're 2 completely opposite teams. He's super slow with high armor and block everywhere, and I'm
literally
super fast and low armor and none of that.
Literally the opposite. Ooh, that's really difficult. Like, I feel like that depends on the kickoff results more than anything else.
I think so.
A cheeky, cheeky quick snap, cheeky perfect defense, cheeky blitz.
The blitz would be horrible against him.
Yeah, like that's going to be really interesting. Yeah. You should have no issues maneuvering the ball. That game could go either way. You could end up with 3 players on the pitch, or you could end up with 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what happens.
And James is also a really tough coach, and he plays dwarves well. So let's have a cheeky look at his team and where he's sat. So the only upgrade he's got is Mighty Blow on a Blitzer. So avoid that guy. Avoid Brian. He's got 11 players, 3 rerolls, 1 fan factor. And yeah, block on everybody, 2 tackles, which does nothing to your team. So that's going to be a brawl. That could be horrible.
At least he's strength 3. That's where I struggled with Nurgle, was because they had those 4 strength 4 players. That was tough to break because you only have your werewolves, and manipulating players who give you 2 dice on frenzy blocks and blitzes against strength 4 is really tough. That's the thing that I found really tough to crack with Nurgle.
Strength 3 should be pretty manageable.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully you can have a couple of cheeky removals with those claw pieces and just 2+ dodge away from the line all of the time. And because they're so low movement, you can do a staggered setup and drop your guys back 4 squares so that they can't even get blitzed, they can't even get based. And that will allow you to kind of counter strike and to brew up your own running lanes. That's going to be
the plan.
That's going to be really interesting. That movement 3 normally doesn't matter so much because you've got the line of slaughter right there, and they're just going to deploy on it. But actually, you set 4 squares back, they can't even get you.
Jump up just makes you run away.
Yeah.
Even
You
if they
fail,
get me down,
you get back up. Yeah, it's going to be much more harmful for him to foul. Yeah, interesting. I like that one. So I played against one of the most ridiculous teams I've ever played in Blood Bowl. This is King Kate Waffling. This is Richard, who ran a Night Goblin team in one of our tournaments against Squigs. So he's running the Squig team. So last Sunday, we dropped Special Teams Sunday and looked at the Squig team on Fumble, and it is just one of my favourite teams. Now, I think if Games Workshop does a Squig team, you won't see a lot of this, but you will see the Hoppers, you will see standard Squigs, and you will see the Herders, who are just regular Goblins. And Richard went in with no rerolls. He sacked off all the rerolls so that he could take all of the pieces for the team. So a giant cave squig at strength 5. Also, he had a mangler squig at strength 7, ball and chain, no secret weapon. Spoiler alert, I did kill that guy, which was remarkable. But yeah, so he had all of these big players and also a squig gobber as well, which is a strength 5 claw Hail Mary bombardier. With movement 1. It's weird. It's such a weird
so good
team.
to start off with, though.
Yeah.
Start off with a Hail Mary bomber.
Just cheeky 2+ passing. Once he figured out how to do it, he made the classic fumble mistake of, I'm going to do this, and then I misclicked, and now I'm throwing a bomb in the random place. It was cool. But Squigs, man, strength 4 and claw. I cannot wait to see this team go against the dwarves. James will outplay him, and he's got the rerolls to make it work. But having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 claw players who are strength 4 or 5 is going to give Richard so many big blocks against those dwarves. It could be ugly. So I went into this thinking, oh man, I'm starting the league and I'm just going to get absolutely murdered. And it wasn't that bad, actually. Let's look at the stats. So I did lose some guys. I've lost a Fractured Skull, Blitzer, and I've got a bodyguard miss next game. So I'm actually down 2 of my best players already, and I don't have them. I'm gonna have to replace this guy when I get the money. It's just the two blitzers on the nobility team are too important. They are too brawly. They get involved in combat too much. You can't have an armor 8, an armor 7 one. It's just not good. I just don't think it's achievable. But yeah, managed to kill the strength 7 dude. This is the thing about Fumble League, is that he went and spent 100 or 100k, 80k, 100k on the Mangler Squig, and I ganged up on it, wrestled it, it killed itself. That's the thing. If you're up against a ball and chain player, try and get a 1 or 2 die block with a player with block or wrestle, and that is gone. And that is gone. Actually, no.
Automatic injury roll on them or something?
Oh, yeah. I knocked it out, and then I did the same thing again and killed it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was just terrified of the blooming thing, because it's not just strength 7, it's strength 7 with claw. So, my linemen are only armor 7, so it was fine, and fend was quite useful. But I was just terrified of the whole blooming thing. And there was just goblins running around, getting eaten by squigs absolutely everywhere. I have put the video, I recorded the game and I put it up on YouTube. It's just brilliant fun to watch because it's just a team that should not exist. And it's just so unique. And the squig touchdown was amazing. Like, it was so good. It was the squig leaped over the line, took a cheeky chomp block, grabbed the ball off decking my player, and then just ran it into the end zone. It was amazing. It was a great play. I did squeak out the win 2-1, and I'm really starting to get a feel for nobility now, which is cool. They're better than I feared. And the ability, that passing is fine. Like, this is the great thing about this team, is because Edge 3 gives you the same passing and the same stats here for that thrower as you do. The only thing missing is running pass. And you know what? A cheeky 3++ quick pass is just fine. Like, it's fine. And I did level up a dude. It was my thrower, and it was one of my throwers, and I gave him leader because I started with 2 rerolls. Now, I didn't go with the ogre build. I went with 2 blitzers, 4 bodyguards, and 2 throwers. Instead of the ogre with 2 rerolls. The other games I played with nobility, I've had the ogre because I love ogres, but I was like, no, we need to try out the I missed the ogre a bit, but actually having that many good players, it's not bad at all, and having only 2 rerolls wasn't the worst thing in the world. Having leader is going to massively help, but
big time, I can imagine.
But unfortunately, my Noble Blitzer being out for a game and my Bodyguard being out for a game means I'm now going up against that very Nurgle team you said, Ben, with 2 of my best players out. But what it does mean is I've got 2 journeymen to just chuck on the line.
And yeah, with Fend, they're still going to be good. They're still going to do their thing.
I feel like as a matchup, Nurgle versus Nobility in 2016 is relatively even. In 2020, Nobility win that. But in 2016, before the Edge nerf hits most of the Nurgle team, I think that's a pretty even matchup.
Yeah, I reckon.
So let's have a look at who we've got after that. So I'm facing the Nurgle team that you've already played. You're facing the Dwarf team that we've already had a look at. And then in round 3, oh, Ben, you are going to be playing against Milton's team. This is a ridiculous team. So this is the Sons of Stromfels. There are 2 player types. One is a pirate cultist, movement 6, strength 3, edge 3, armor 7. And then there are what could only be described as were-shark vampires. The Sons of Stromfell. Movement 4, strength 5, edge 2, armor 9, claw, bloodlust, and frenzy.
Strength 5 frenzy is like with claw.
Straight with claw. And this is Blood Bowl 2016. And Milton has already leveled up Miriam, his 3rd shark beast, to have mighty blow.
Oh, that is brutal.
Now, I feel like you and Milton have got a bit of a Blood Bowl rivalry.
I think so. I think it was since that Aware Ethereal team
at Tombstone.
He took me down to 2 players.
Very nearly pitch cleared, Ben, and absolutely crazy. Yeah. And I feel like this team here is sneaky, terrifying. Like 4 strength, 5 frenzy, bloodlust. Bloodlust is not a nega trait. Well, it is. You can manage it though. You know, like. If you fail bloodlust, you still get to do exactly what you want to do. You might chomp a dude or leave the pitch. Which is worth it. Yeah, which is worth it because whoever you're eating is also going to be leaving the pitch. So really interesting. And Edge 3 on the standard guys means he can do anything, and he's got 4 rerolls.
That's insane. I'm looking at the match stats. And he had 39 2-die blocks against Sam's team. 88 block dice.
88 blocks. Is it 88 blocks or 88 block dice? Block dice. How many blocks was actually
45
taken?
blocks.
Oof.
That's a lot of blocks.
Not
I'm just going to see what
38 blocks.
Yeah. Comparing it to other games. Yeah, compare it to my game, which was Nurgle did 40 blocks on me, I did 29 on them.
Yeah, Milton's just going to be blocking forever.
Yeah.
And he went for it as well. 6 go for it. Failed some dodges though. Successful blocks, 27. Absolutely chomped. And won his first game 1-0 against the Talabek Troubadours, which is Sam Frenzy Garner's team, which is the Four Nations team, which is basically a rugby team on the Blood Bowl pitch. And there's 2 of them in our league. Ian Triplow is also running the Four Nations team. So 2 Four Nations teams. Now, the jam here is that everyone's got Dump Off and Nerves of Steel, along with some other skills to differentiate them. So there's some forwards who've got Fend and Diving Tackle, as well as Dump Off Nerves of Steel. There's a fullback, which has got Kick Off Return and Catch. There's a halfback that's got Kick and Hail Mary Pass. There's some wings, which have got Catch, as well as the standard skills. So, yeah, interesting. The positionals aren't massively differentiated, but they do rugby-style things, which is really interesting. And it's cool that both Ian and Sam have gone with the same team, because there's like 90 Secret League teams. But the potential of that dump off to another player is really interesting. But no combat skills there at all. Armor 8 across the board. I feel like Sam got lucky to not suffer any casualties. Oh no,
we could
do die
as well. Oh, did 2 die?
No, one guy, the halfback died.
Yeah, if you look at his blocks, he had 45 blocks as well, but 26 of those were one die.
Oh wow!
With 5 of 2 die uphill as well. So he had 31 out of 45 were either 2 die uphill or 1 die blocks against Milton's team.
And you know what? He passed 2 of those 2 die up blocks.
Yeah,
3 of them. 3 of them worked. Good man. Good man. That's really cool. So yeah, they got the Four Nations team there, which also just fills out this really strange thing against a massive shark brawling team. There's so much variety here. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I meant to mute my mic. I did not. I did mute it for OBS, and I forgot that was also going through the Discord for you. So,
or he just died. Huh?
that was the worst sound effects than Fumble. I'm still not 100%. Right. So we've seen those teams. Who else? So next week, I have got the Nurgle team. Then following that, I'm playing against Richard Saxby and the Simeon team, who are playing Milton next week. So that's going to be interesting. So Simeon,
what's this team like?
Are weird, and they're kind of like a fan-loved team because they're weird. They're not secret team. They're the team that didn't make the cut behind Khorne and Slan and Bretonnian. Okay. They're the next team that I think has got the most games, the most fan favorite. It's just that the theme I don't think is strong enough to carry it into Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
So weird team. It's a monkey team. The jam here is that the entire team has got extra arms, which is really good. So they've got a silverback, strength 5, move 5, wild animal, extra arms, grab, mighty blow. 2 gorillas with a strength 4, extra arms, grab. So black orcs basically. You got a chimpanzee, extra arms, wrestle, 7-3-3-7. Orangutan, 5-3-3-8, extra arms, strong arms. I guess that's the kind of thrower positional. And the line things are bonobos, 6-3-3-7, extra arms. So strength 3, but that extra arms means that they are picking up the ball on a 2+.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's pretty good. I mean, and catching on a 2+. They kind of got like semi-ag 4 without having to pay the strength tax that your werecats do.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really unique actually. And does it also help with intercept? Is that extra arms or is that that's very long legs?
No, well, yeah, but it's an agility test, isn't it? And I think to catch the ball, yeah, potentially. I don't know. This is the problem, and this is what we'll talk about next. Is I'm so into Blood Bowl 2020 that having to retro apply the old rules to Fumble to what's going on is challenging, especially where I've got to chuck the nobility team into Blood Bowl 2016. So playing against a whole bunch of teams that won't exist in their form that they are. So Monkey Island Nation, they've got a strength 5 silverback, 2 strength 4 gorillas, and a bunch of dudes who are picking up the ball on a 2+ with a couple of skills in there. Now he's got an extra edge lineman, which is a pretty expensive prospect, but extra arms means 1+ ball picking up everywhere before mods. There's the
Ad 4 is just fantastic.
Ad 4 is always good.
Yeah,
back in the day. So yeah, Monkey Island will be my next team, and they've just played a game against the High Seas Slayers, which is Ian Warhammer Hanneman's team, and it's a Slayer team. So he's themed them all as pirate rappers, which I love.
The names he's given me.
Yeah, he's got
shout a couple of them.
Yeah, go for it.
He's got Sloop Dog.
Yep.
50 doubloons, which is my personal favourite.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Slazy.
Like, yeah. Notorious BRIG is also fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, Sean Hall, nice. Craig Slavid, Flaggy. Bless him. He's done a great job. So the Slayer team is one again. I think we will see a form of from Games Workshop in the future, because it's just. They put it out. They kind of brewed one up and put it on my Dugout app, a Dwarf Slayer team. I think it's very different to this one, but still, that theme I think is going to get there. So Doom Seeker, movement 4, strength 7, ball and chain secret weapon. Okay, so they've got a fanatic essentially. 2 Slayer runners, Dauntless, Sure Hands, Thick Skull. 2 Slayers, 5328, Thick Skull, Dauntless, Frenzy block. Linemen here are movement 4. Edge 2, Strength 3, Armor 8, Block, Thick Skull, Dauntless. And there's a couple of Giant Slayers who are Strength 4, Thick Skull, Frenzy, Dauntless, Juggernaut. So don't actually have Block. There's no tackle. There's not as much Frenzy as you would potentially expect on a Slayer team. The Giant Slayers have it, the Slayers have it. That's it. So it's a bit more of a controlling thing than I would imagine to see a Slayer team have. But actually, it's all right. So it's a Dwarf team. They've got block, they don't have tackle, and they've got lower armor.
I love this team.
Cool.
I think this is really cool. I could see this being an official Games Workshop team as well, because they do like their Slayers. Fire Slayers is a whole army now in Age of Sigmar.
It doesn't feel overpowered either, does it? It doesn't.
No, it looks. I would actually be tempted to run a tabletop dwarf team just using these stats. Maybe I think if you just for a lot of them swapped movement for armor. This would be a really cool dwarf team.
It would be a really cool take on dwarves. I completely agree. So
yeah,
he went up against Monkey Island Nation and they drew 1-1. So that's an interesting point to be. A niggling injury for each side. 66 blocks from the Slayer team against 35 blocks from Monkey Island. Any casualties? A couple of casualties apiece. Nothing too serious though. So has he leveled anybody up? He's got Dauntless, Thick Skull, Sure Hands, block on a Slayer runner now. So and that's what every dwarf team needs, a cheeky bit of block. So, and he's only rolling 2 re-rolls, so quite a pricey team. Interesting one. So Monkey Island survived that, and that'll be me playing them in round 3. You're playing, oh yeah, you've got the Iron Dwarves, then the Sharks, then you're taking on
Slayers.
Ian the Slayers. Fantastic.
All the combat teams in early on.
They're all combat teams, man. Then you're up against Squigs, which is going to be hilarious. Then you're up against Sam's rugby team. Then, oh no, you're not. That's a week beforehand. Then you're up against me in week 6. That'll be good.
Ah, okay.
That'll be good. I feel like your team's going to have a bit of an edge.
I think they will at that point as well. After a few level ups, if I can get a couple of werewolves leveled up, that's going to be pretty scary.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
And block. Yeah.
Then the week after, you've got Sam. Then you've got the Monkey Boys. And then your round 9 is going to be against Triplo and his rugby team. So
2 rugby in a row.
Yeah, he had a bad game. The dump off demons did. They played the Iron Breakers and suffered -1 edge on a dude, -1 strength on a dude, and -1 life on a dude who died. So Triplo had a horrible first game and got murdered against James, who you're playing.
-3 casualties.
Yeah, tough, absolutely tough gig. failed a bunch of dodges, and yeah, had a tough time there. Got outblocked by 20 as well, 48-28. So
rough.
Yeah, but I mean, you expect that from a dwarf team. You expect them to be taking all the blocks they can.
Yeah, and with the Four Nations, as we said, they have no combat skills. It's all put into dump off and passing and catching and stuff, isn't it? So
definitely a vulnerability.
Yeah,
there.
all that block pretty pays off.
I got outblocked 35-23. I don't block enough, I think.
Just have to. You just 3+ dodge everywhere.
Well, yeah. That's a solid strat. Yeah, so interesting. So we've had a look at all the teams there, and really, we just wanted to chat it through because it's really cool to do. We're not going to be taking this to tabletop. We're not going to be probably rolling these teams on afterwards. We're just spending a couple of months before we get to tabletop, before we hit Blood Bowl 2020, just playing a game of Fumble on a Tuesday night, chatting to everybody, and just trying out some ridiculous teams. And if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And I can't recommend this enough.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Especially because it means I get to farm a bunch of nobility games in, which is going to be good.
Yeah, you're going to be prepared. I'm going to be asking you when the league starts. Yeah, well, Ben, what would you recommend here? What do I do here?
I recommend not playing against squigs, not playing against shark people, not playing against square teams.
Easily done.
It's really, you can tell that our coaches are horrible people because Iron Breakers are just all block, all armor. Sharks have got claw everywhere. Nurgle and Nurgle. Slayers have got block and frenzy everywhere. Monkey boys are okay. We're just high edge claw as well. Squig, claw, rugbies. It's really a really good mix. At the moment, James is top of the leaderboard at +2 touchdowns and +3 casualties. Then it's Big Mac Milt, +1 touchdown, +2 casualties. Then it's me, +1 casualty, +1 touchdown. So not doing terribly. Where are you, dude? You are 7th at the moment.
I'm 7th. Yeah,
that's all right. You got it's cool. Triplo and 16 Castles, the Four Nations teams at the bottom. I have played against a Four Nation team before. Against Sam, actually, in 7s. I ran Bretonians, and he ran Four Nations. And you know what? Those teams are playing against each other in 11s now. Same coaches, kind of same teams. It's going to be really interesting. Although old Breds in 7s were wicked. 4 of those knights was just awesome. Just like humans with theme was wicked. Absolutely wicked. Groovy. Anything you want to add on the Fumble front there, Ben?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm really excited to see where this goes. I just hope my team can make it through all 9 games. That's all I'm praying for.
This is it, man. I'm worried about this. I am genuinely worried about this.
There's a lot of claw out there.
I don't know. Fumble just feels more bloodthirsty than regular league, but maybe it's just that maybe we just roll more blocks in Fumble. I don't know.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Maybe it's easier to see where the profitable blocks are. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back to talk about Blood Bowl 2016 some more. And we're back. So, we talked a lot about Fumble. We're playing a Fumble league. We've retrofit the 2 Blood Bowl 2020 new teams into Fumble, and it is all 2016 rules. Fumble transitioning to Blood Bowl 2020 is going to take months yet, and Blood Bowl 3 was pushed back all the way to at least August. You can't really play tabletop at the moment, and we've got our first tournament at the beginning of July. There'll be some stuff going on in June, I think, is probably when tabletop's going to start brewing up again, Ben. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
That, of course, depends on how controlled the public is over the Easter break, and judging by a lot of our e-com stats at the moment, there is a ton of alcohol and barbecue stuff going out, so I'm not convinced that the timeline is going to be sticking to what Bojo wants, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. But I swear to God, man, if we have to cancel the tournament, I'm going to be very upset. Very upset. Very upset.
We need this.
Anyway, tabletop, probably June. You can do some garden stuff now, but I don't know, just the prospect of people traipsing around the garden and into a gazebo and stuff, I don't know. There's a bit of logistics there that seems like, just wait 3 weeks. In my opinion. I don't know, like maybe that's because we've got Fumble on the go, Ben, that I'm not too desperate to start playing games in gardens at the moment.
No, I think I'm looking forward to going back to club. But yeah, the old garden game. Yeah, it might be handy for some, I don't know, some sevens or something like that. But can't really record in a garden. So.
No, we did genuinely consider it. We were like, right, can we do this? Is it worth it? Should we just wait 4 weeks and do it properly? Actually, just wait 4 weeks and do it properly. Like, it's going to be fine. And you never know what's going to happen. So yeah, there's going to be some tabletop stuff landing soon, which is brilliant. But we got Fumble, and we got Blood Bowl 2, and at the moment those aren't going away. And even though we're going to be having tournaments again soon, and we're going to be potentially having game clubs, Ben, my question to you is, do you think the online gaming element of Blood Bowl is going to decrease or just be played alongside?
It's interesting. I think it may decrease when people are like super eager to not do it anymore or not have it as the only option. So like, and personally, that's what I think. I'd be like, we mentioned D&D earlier today.
Yeah.
But now you play all on like Roll20. I think it'll be similar where it's just like, oh no, I'm so done with that. I just want to go back to tabletop and roll physical dice. And yeah, but there are a lot of people who online Blood Bowl and digital Blood Bowl is the way they play Blood Bowl. And so obviously for them, it's definitely not going to be the case.
And we're going to end up with this slight dichotomy that I don't think has really ever existed before. I've never really come across it. Warhammer, 40k, all these games that we've played before, there has been a standard environment and it has been one way. Magic the Gathering is a cracking example of this, where there are older formats, but the rules change, and there's a standard environment, and the standard environment goes on. This is going to be really weird because streamers are going to be streaming Blood Bowl 2 in 4 months' time. And we are all going to be multiple tournaments in, playing in Blood Bowl 2020. And I don't know if I'm feeling it more than ever, but we're doing all the 2020 content, but actually we want to explore some of the great games that we're playing. It's weird to go back in time and be like, this works differently back then. And I know the whole group has had to do this along of like, right, we've all learned Blood Bowl 2020. We've all got a couple of games in on Tabletop Simulator or in person or whatever. And now it's like, right, how did the old rules work? And I don't know, it just seems really strange. I can't think of a time where that's been a thing, where a new edition of something.
I was going to compare it to when AOS came out, and there were people playing Warhammer Old World. It was the 8th edition, and then there was new AOS. But I think the real difference with that is that Age of Sigmar sucked when it came out.
Yeah,
Blood Bowl 2020 doesn't.
No, Blood Bowl 2020 is amazing, and I know you don't see the negative impact. Like, it first landed, and obviously everyone's cheese got moved, and it was the worst thing in the world. And yeah, passing has got worse, but actually, don't judge me for this, guys. It's a little bit more satisfying now to pull off a pass with someone who shouldn't be passing, and it's a little bit easier to pull off a pass with someone who should be passing. And you know what? It just feels okay. Like, yes, it means that the tactical flexibility is different, but it just feels fine. Like, it's just fine. Like, throwers are sweet. You want to brew up throwers to throw because no one else can throw, and that makes them really special. And I felt this when upgrading my thrower to get leader. I was like, I really have spent 2 months talking to Ben, and I just want to put accurate on this guy to make him a 2+ passer. And yes. I'm not going to do it right now, but I would normally, because it's just, you want to make somebody special. So when it comes to Blood Bowl 2020, the passing's different, the teams are different, and I think that's the biggest thing that we will be missing is new Necro, new Underworld, fixed OWA, and Black Orcs and Nobility aren't even there. And it's going to be really interesting to see people carry on, like Andy Davo streaming, and we're going to have NAF tournaments on Fumble and NAF tournaments on Blood Bowl 2, playing a version of Blood Bowl that is dead, but it's still very much alive. And we are propagating the cycle by partaking in a league using a format of rules that don't exist. We had a great time with it. And I don't know. I mean,
I think you're right with the with Blood Bowl 3. I think in terms when that drops, whenever it does.
Yeah.
I think that will be a big changer because there's a lot of people where Blood Bowl to them is a video game.
Yep.
And that will definitely normalize it. I think when that releases, and now Fumble is it out, the 2020 version?
Oh, Fumble, no, they're still working on it. It's going to be ages yet, basically.
Oh, is it? Okay. But we know that's coming. When they both are there,
That'll be the transition.
that will be the moment that actually is dead.
Yeah. And I think that's okay.
I can't imagine many people go back.
My only concern about that is with Blood Bowl 2 to Blood Bowl 3 transition, Blood Bowl 3 is only going to land with, like, what, I don't know, 10, 12 teams?
Yeah, that is true.
In a format that by August could contain 30 teams. We're at 27 Games Workshop teams now, the 2 NAF teams.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a chance Games Workshop will drop another team this year. I mean, we're in April, and we've had no Blood Bowl releases this year, I don't think. Not that count. We had some dice that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had some dice and bits. We've had no new content, shall we say, from Games Workshop since the game came out in November.
Yeah.
Have we?
So I was thinking, when did the Tree Man come out? No, wait.
When
that was a while ago.
Oh, the Tree Man came out the same time as the boxed game, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It did, because people had...
I mean, it's been out for years.
Game, Necro, and Tree Man. Yeah.
Oh, my Necro pitch turned up the other day as well, which is cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I know. I completely forgot about it. It had been in Toyman like for 6 months, and because I bought the boat, they just sent this massive box, and I was like, "Oh, what the heck is going on?" And there's a Necro pitch in there. I was like, "Yay!" Yeah, but no, I think, but that I guess is my concern is that even when Blood Bowl 3 lands, there's going to be a chunk of players that can't run it, and there's going to be a chunk of teams that don't exist in it. And I wonder if we're going to have another holdout from the Blood Bowl 2 community, or at least in the place that Blood Bowl 2 continues to be used because there's a better access to teams. And I guess my question is, who do you think makes that choice?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because
I guess just the community as a whole, right? I think people go where the games are. I think if the majority stick around, I think people will stick around. I don't know. It's really hard to tell.
Because you'd rather take part in an online tournament with a couple of hundred players than you would a tournament with, like... Well, the thing is, I think BB3 is going to be plenty popular enough. It's going to be fine. But I'm thinking from a NAF point of view, they won't be able to have, I don't think, an online... Well, they will, because it will just be limited and it'll be a new variant in BB3. But from a meta point, having 10 teams is really going to be significantly less juicy than having, 20-something in Blood Bowl 2. And I wonder if there's going to be situations where people are like, yeah, we're going to run it on BB2 because there's more access to teams. I can't see that, and just the amount of games that are going to be out. I wonder if BB2 is just going to be around. I mean, Ben, you've got a much better video game background than I have, but I feel like there's some examples in games out there, competitive-ish games, where people are still playing the previous version.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of an example now.
Oh, CNC was one from back when I was in college. Like, I think CNC 3 landed, and everyone was still playing Generals, and just continued playing Generals because that's where all the gameplay was.
I think Counter-Strike was like that to start with, but now that's been out for quite a while.
No, that's a great analogy actually. Because they, Counter-Strike was a holdout, but I just think that with the Blood Bowl community, I feel like, and this may be a bit of a generalization, people who spend a ton of money on miniatures don't always spend a ton of money on PCs. I feel like that's a Venn diagram where I am way heavier on the miniature side. My disposable income goes on buying things I'll never paint rather than buying games I'll never play. I feel like that's just like the Venn diagram of adults. There's a few people like yourself who've got a sweet rig and has a massive investment in miniatures. You are in the sweet spot, I think.
Just a moment of self-reflection. There's too many. Hearing someone else say it, just like, oh no, what a problem.
We all have problems. But yeah, I just, I feel like that crossover point. Like, I think you are sitting in the sweet spot of high narrative, PC game awareness, and high quality miniature. Like, you are massively invested in the miniature thing. So this BB3 BB20 crossover, you are in a smashing position for all of it. But I feel
that being said, I'll probably still get it on Switch. If it's there.
If it comes out on the Switch, I'm getting on the Switch as well, because we picked up a second Switch so Tiff could start streaming YouTube stuff for Animal Crossing, and then went and got herself a new job. So I don't think she's going to be doing much of the YouTube stuff anyway. But still, I mean, much better to have a good job. Awesome stuff. But I don't know. Like, I just think that if you look at our league, we've got 20 regular coaches, 10 to 12 super invested coaches that will play Fumble when they can't get to tabletop. There's a ton of guys who play tabletop who aren't interested in Fumble. Even good guy Lewis. You got Lewis, you got Craig, you got Rick. There's a whole bunch of guys who aren't playing the Fumble League because it just doesn't do it for them, because they're highly invested in miniatures. Those guys are not going to have Blood Bowl 3. It sits outside of what their main interest is. But I guarantee that a majority of them have got Blood Bowl 2. It's just interesting, because the Blood Bowl 16 rule set is decent, and we've got all this secret team stuff. But the good thing is, all the secret team stuff is being juiced up for 2020. The drafts are actually on Fumble now. You can see them. So as soon as those new rules are going to be able to go live, I don't know. I mean, judge me if you like, but I'm more excited for Fumble to be updated than I am for Blood Bowl 3 to land. So is Ben, clearly.
Yeah. I don't know. I do like the Cyanide games. From like a visual standpoint, they're not obviously the most amazing looking graphical masterpieces, but the new one, especially with the models reflecting, your GW kits, it's pretty cool to see your toys come to life. It's like Toy Story.
But murdering.
Yeah.
And not in the way of like the furnace at the end of the third film. No tears here, guys. Still the most upsetting moment in a kid's film I think ever. That, apparently when Bambi's mum gets it, that's quite bad as well, but I don't remember being that fussed about that.
No, I think that was bad as Toy Story.
I'm like, ooh, veal. No, not veal. Venison. But
it's way more delicious than plastic.
Oh, I do have to vent. This is completely off topic. So I've been looking after e-commerce for where I am and stuff, and I had an email chain for a customer complaint come through the other week. So I was doing my weekly review, and I'm like, right, okay, where are we? What do we need to focus on? What training leads do we need? Like, what complaints have we had from a customer? We sent a customer two venison steaks with different dates, and she's very upset because that meant that she couldn't eat them both on the same day, the longest date. I mean, we're talking like one had 6 days life, one had 8 days life, and I would be more concerned about the venison steak having a week life on it. But yeah, I was like, this is the most. I'm just baffled. Like, I'm stood there and there's like queues and masks and everyone's just trying to survive and literally not die. And I was like, people are still people. 2 dates on their venison steak. I was like, oh wow. Anyway, Bambi's mum, sad furnace, Toy Story. Yes, I don't know. I think it's probably the accessibility of Fumble that I'm most excited about. I feel like there's a much lower entry point, but there's a higher learning curve. And I don't know, maybe I just need to play more Blood Bowl 2 again. But man,
and it's what you're after. I think Fumble is, like you say, super good. It's free. It's fantastic. It just works. It's very easy to get into. But like, I don't know. For me, it's kind of like playing. But Fumble is really good when you want to play Blood Bowl, as like you want the game crunchy experience of Blood Bowl, compared to like the visual awesomeness of tabletop, where you have full miniatures, and Blood Bowl 3 and will be 3 and 2. They give you that side, whereas like it's visually an immersive experience. I wouldn't say Fumble is immersive.
No, Fumble does not make for great esports viewing either. Whereas actually Blood Bowl 2 works. I'm hoping that BB3 will have some kind of spectator mode. So that you can do esports commentary and stuff like that, because I think Blood Bowl is an underutilized competitive sport. Because it's so blooming swingy and just imbalanced, it just creates incredible gaming moments. Anyway, just wanting to have a chat with you about whether or not BB16 is ever actually going to die, because it's been 8 months and everybody is still playing online with the old rules as if nothing's happened, and it's this weird moment of what we're doing now means nothing. And it's oddly liberating.
Yeah, I think the answer really is if it's dead, it's a very nice non-committal. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. I'd like that. I like that. Anyway, Ben, I think we're just about done with Blood Bowl stuff for today.
Yeah.
I am going to go and print off some of the new Stern Boys at 120%. Do I boost it up to 125? No, that's wasteful. 120 is fine. 120 is fine. It just sounds better.
I think I'm printing off a Glart for Milton as well, so I'll go do that.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
On the miniature as well.
Glart's okay. I think Hackflem's better, but you know me. I'm old Ash, no bash. Groovy. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time with the podcast, and on that episode we'll be talking about the entries for the adjusted team design competition. So still got 9 days, but get them in now. We've seen some great stuff. It's really cool. And hopefully we'll be talking about Death Zone. Hopefully we'll have some more info about Death Zone. That would be very nice. I would like that, please. Or we're just going to bore you with Warhammer Quest. Actually, change plan is going to be a Cursed City. Cursed City crossover. Yeah, it's going to be cool. Yeah. Right, BT, thank you so much for hanging out, man. It's nice to chat with you.
Yeah, no, always. Thank you.
Cool. Right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for listening. Love you long time. Happy blocking. Be safe. And do let us know what you think about our ramblings on this episode, because this is a nice point where nothing exciting is happening right now in Blood Bowl. We're in the middle of plateau. Everyone's learned everything they can about Blood Bowl 2020. We just want to play more games. We've got a couple of months, and it's this weird calm before the storm, because I think when June and July hits, assuming everything's safe, it is going to be a new golden age for Blood Bowl. I really do think that. And
yeah, I agree.
That's crazy exciting. Because I maintain it's the best game. Anyway, right, we're going to disappear. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and we will see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo.